Okay, so again, all the people I speak to in terms of decision makers at companies like yours, whether or not you're a CEO, a founder, a VP of sales, CRO, whatever it is, if you're measuring results on a shorter timescale, so let's say on a monthly, and if someone reaches out to you and says, I can book you 10 meetings next month, then that's great, but that could be a one-time fix. And in this video, I'm going to dive into how we deliver consistently quarter over quarter. We measure things on a quarterly basis, and that's just because that's how strategic planning works in most businesses. So as somebody in the C-suite, I'm sure you're aware that whether or not you have a good January, February, and March is great altogether. But if you said Jan was amazing, Feb was down, and March was amazing, if you look at that overall on a quarter, then that's pretty good performance. But if you just measure on February and the fact that it's terrible, then you can be very reactive to the results rather than taking that kind of long-term view. And sometimes things can go wrong and sometimes things can plateau, but it's all about how you change them to make sure that you can deliver consistently, not just once. So I'm going to dive into kind of how we do that and how we use a proprietary system that ensures you hit your targets month after month, quarter over quarter, and how we consistently deliver through 3 different channels to negate the fluctuations in performance throughout different channels, and how we optimize to ensure that we continuously deliver. So let me just move myself out of the way here. I'm going to put myself down here this time. So the challenge, consistency is the hardest part. Month 1 results are great. Month 2 results drop off. And then month 3, you start to lose. So outbound stops, pipeline dries up, you're back to square one and you stop doing it. So outbound requires discipline and consistency, and most companies can't maintain it. They've got too much to do, especially someone in your position. You just can't spend the time going through all of this work to make sure everyone's qualified, make sure your templates change daily, staying on top of what works in cold email. And why consistency matters more than volume. So predictable pipeline, and I'm aware this is cut off here, I'm not sure why, but I'm going to continue. Predictable pipeline, you know how many meetings you'll get each month, no surprises. And that can obviously fluctuate slightly, but inputs equals outputs. Therefore, you can forecast. And I come from a finance background. Forecasting isn't done on a monthly basis. Yeah, you have a budget, but it's done on a yearly basis. That's a 3 to 5 year plan. Stop thinking about your performance in terms of next week or the week after. It's very tactical. You in your C-suite role should be thinking strategically around how you can deliver results for 2026, not in January. January obviously makes part of that plan, but you work back from the goal for 2026. So the compounding results month over month, consistently delivering. So how we ensure consistency are 4 pillars. So we have a dedicated team, focusing solely on your outbound, not juggling other clients, not distracted by other priorities, focus, discipline, consistent. So in one of our tiers, we give you a dedicated SDR. They focus specifically for your team across all 3 channels, making sure that they do their cold calls every single day, ring in any interested leads as soon as they can, just for the speed to lead, and kind of 3xing the results from email a lot of the time. Weekly execution. So we run campaigns every single week, and we actually change things 1 to 2, 3 times a week if needed. And obviously I'm talking about a longer time horizon here, but these are the daily tactical things that need to happen for us, while you as the strategic C-suite head focus on what that looks like strategically. And then weekly optimization. So we review the results. We can even sit down on a call, and then we improve every week. What's working, double down. What's not, change it. Continuous improvement. And then weekly reporting. We'll report to you weekly the pipeline, the progress, full transparency, so you know what's happening every single week. You don't even have to touch it. We just report to you. So the weekly execution rhythm: Monday to Friday, full execution. Weekly review and optimization on a Friday, and then next week we optimize the campaigns and launch again. So every week, every month, every quarter, consistent execution. We're constantly in the detail, understanding what's working, what's not, testing new things. It's our full-time job. Your full-time job is not to be qualifying leads and working out what works on outbound. It's to get the deals over the line, close them, review and tell us what's working, what's not internally in terms of what's closing and who you want to be targeting, so we can execute on it. So what consistent execution looks like: month 1, 15 to 20 meetings, month 2, 25 to 35, month 3, 30 to 40. Now that depends on the tier you go with. We could book you anywhere from 20 to 40 to 60 meetings in month 1, depending on the volume required. We would set that based on your TAM. The goal here is every 45 to 60 days to reach that TAM and then go over them again with a different angle based on the data that we have. This is just an example, but we would expect the results to improve over time just because we have found winning angles. So leads that are being used with an angle that doesn't work are then reused in 60 days time with an angle that is working, so we can try and get them. And also timing is a big thing in terms of cold outbound. Someone may have a problem that they're not too bothered about solving now. If they've got someone breathing down their necks in 60 days or next quarter, then they're looking to solve that urgently. So how we stay accountable: we have weekly metrics dashboard, so you can see everything booked, meetings booked, pipeline generated, response rates, performance, what's working in terms of the angles. Monthly strategy calls, so we'll discuss what's working, what's not, who you're targeting, how we can improve things. Transparent reporting, so going through every single thing in terms of what the reply rates are through each different channel, how we can improve those, what our plan is to do so, just to keep you in the loop with what we're doing. And then if you want to build that out internally, you can also do that too. And then continuous improvement, so based on data, based on feedback, we continually optimize targeting and strategy, always getting better. So consistency beats volume every single time. It's about staying consistent month over month, quarter over quarter, to give you the ability to forecast last over the next 12 months, over the next 24 months. Now, to give you some confidence, we start with a 90-day engagement period. So, for example, it's November 2025. We're now planning for Q1. The holidays are obviously coming up. Now is the perfect time to get started. So you're ahead of the competition come Jan 5th or Jan 6th when we launch and everyone's back from holiday. While everyone else is kind of starting doing their planning for the next year and they're already a month into Q1 and they have no results. So if you've already booked a call, I'll speak to you in a couple of days. If you haven't, book one down below and I'd love to go through this with you and just build this out around what it looks like for your business.